Woke is dead. Let's make sure it never comes back. I agree with that sentiment. If that means that some things, there has to be some collateral damage, so be it. Across the non-left media world, it's now an article of faith that Orange Man's emphatic victory is a woke watershed. After asking petulantly for year upon year, now have we hit peak woke? Like chillins in the back seat nagging daddy, are we there yet? We learn repeatedly from conservative outlets that the regressive lunacy that's tormented us since around current year minus 11 has been roundly defeated. Yeah, see, notice how these guys understand. If not since 1965, yeah, this woke shit's been around for a while. Like I keep telling you guys, look, the first time I noticed it was the late 90s. Dude, that's longer ago than some of you guys have been alive. And I know it's been around since before then. But the late 90s is when I noticed it. Like that is when I first encountered my favorite line. Like, there's nothing political about just being a good person. That was the late 90s. Wokeness has been around for a long fucking time. Now, around 2016-ish is when it really started getting kicked into high gear. But it was around well before then. It's like communism. The fucking cancer just never goes away for good. Like there's always a risk of remission. The decisive death knell for identity politics dangles the blessed possibility of no longer squandering our brief duration on this earth on stupid conversations and debates of whether a woman can have penises. Racial discrimination cures racism. Advancement in employment and indoctrination should be determined by skin color. Western civilization that gave us penicillin, Rembrandt, Bach, and the Hubble Space Telescope is a disgrace. Being grotesquely fat is healthy, and wearing a sombrero that you bought yourself on Amazon is theft. Not theft, it's just cultural appropriation. We're definitely, things are improving. Well, we need to make damn sure that anyone who jumped on the woke bandwagon gets so fucked because of this that they'll never do this again. And we got to send a message to all future people. Like, yeah, this is what happens to you when you try this woke shit. And I will also say here too, I stopped wasting my time on this. Like this guy said, spending our brief duration on the earth on stupid conversations and debates. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Like you'll notice me on Twitter every once in a while. I'll try to have a conversation with somebody, and sometimes it actually goes well. But that's rare. Usually, the other person is regarded. And unlike when I was younger, nowadays, once I figure out I'm talking to a wall, I just stop engaging. Like, yeah, nothing I say is getting through to this regard anyway. So I'm not wasting my time. Like, nope, I'm not doing this. I got better things to do with my time than scream at a wall. Nah. I move on and do other things. Friends, the folks who've really been stealing and high value items, our precious time, energy, and attention, are the doctrinal morons we've roped into addressing these painfully self-evident questions. I've devoted whole afternoon seriously considering whether a mass movement to sterilize chillins and cut off healthy body parts is a good idea. Canceled. Agreed then, we yearn to put this rank idiocy behind us. In fact, I'm intensely curious how this period of communal madness will be regarded once it's foreshortening in the rearview mirror. Will the era's edges blur until, in retrospect, cancel culture is remembered as rather cute? No, like I said, man, this era is going to be remembered as the Great Clown era. Kids are going to be reading history books in 50 years, laughing their asses off. Like this era will be the comedy segment of history class. Like they're just going to get over like the heavy topics of World War II, and then they're going to skip ahead to the Great Clown era for some levity. Really, these fucking regards actually believed that that men and women could transition between each other seamlessly? What? Like, they couldn't even define what a woman was? Really? They thought being morbidly obese was healthy? What? Surely you're joking. No one would be that stupid. And will historians really only recall only that for a funny little period, people cared innocuously more about than usual about social justice? Or will the reign of woke instead take its place alongside Mao's Cultural Revolution, Stalin's show trials, and Pol Pot's killing fields as a lower fatality example of a whole society losing its collective mind? That actually, whether or not it's lower fatality depends on how long it goes on. The more regards sterilize themselves because of the woke mind virus, the more of them we'll see as time goes on opting for the easy way out. So maybe there will not be a lower fatality rate in the long run. So as for that rearview mirror, there are promising signs. Preferred pronouns are quietly dropping from email signatures. The Sanctimonious University of Michigan is firing diversity, equity, and inclusion staff. Walmart has dropped the term DEI altogether. They only dropped the term. That doesn't mean they're no longer doing DEI stuff. Don't forget that. Those two things aren't the same. They maybe they're just calling it bridge now. Wink, wink. Investors are suing retailer Target for putting commitments to DEI, ESG, and pride above interests of shareholders. Formerly left-wing Silicon Valley billionaires are not publicly excited about or even bidding to participate in an Orange Man administration. No, that's only because they know that they were on the losing side, and now they're trying to suck up to the winners. Oh yeah, we were only pretending to be regarded. It was just a prank, bro. Isn't it funny? The atmosphere on the podcast is suddenly more permissive. Why it might finally be safe to make a joke. Yeah, both YouTube and Fakebook and all these others, they're finally starting to realize that it's pretty hard to make line keep going up when you've banned like 80% of the world. So yeah, they're starting to finally loosen up. Democratic media figures are drowning in self-pity while the viewership of the hectoring MSNPC channel has plummeted. Red states are banning gender-defying care. Let's just say mutilation for minors. And the laws have a good chance of holding up in the Supreme Court. The word retarded is enjoying a comeback. Now, once we get to Power Word N making a comeback, then we can talk. No, still, I'm worried we're jumping the gun. This dogma that has infected all of our institutions like a fungus. Yeah, and that's why we need to collapse all of the existing institutions and replace them with better ones. It's not that hard, really. One American erection won't do the trick. Yeah, it didn't in 2016 and is not gonna in 2024 either. There are too many people with vested interest in workery because decolonizing the curriculum, say, is their job. Many a museum director has been hired expressly to ensure the art collection doesn't acquire work by white people. Exactly. There's a lot of scammers whose employment relies on this system. So it won't all go quietly. Of course not. Like I've been saying for years, their death throes, like it's going to be like a cornered rat. They literally bet everything on DEI, on wokeness. If wokeness ends up failing, they will fall with it. So yeah, there's a lot of people that will fight tooth and nail, even when their loss is guaranteed. They will try to do as much damage as possible on the way out. The numerous black female hires who tick two boxes in diversity, buy one, get one free, are sometimes conspicuously underqualified, such as ousted Harvard President Claudine Gay, owe their appointments to the fungal way of thinking, and they won't all go quietly. And that's fine with me. Like, if this will collapse the legacy institutions faster, that's good. America's entire Democratic Party is steeped in this brain rot, and Hughes of Paris still came within 1.5 percentage points of winning the popular vote. Yeah, how does that look when you take the dead vote out of the equation, though? So on both sides of the Atlantic, the universities, the judicial system, NGOs, legal and medical professions, the fake news media, cultural institutions, theater, publishing, film, they've all been putrefied by the zombie fungus. Picture the effects of the special effects for The Last of Us. Those all those hairy tendrils and fibrous clumps crawling from the skyscrapers of Midtown Manhattan. Yeah, so let the legacy collapse, and we'll build a new industry from the rubble. So this is a long fight that's not yet won. That's true. It's not to detract from the cheerful impression we sane people do seem to have gained the upper hand right now. Indeed, I've never doubted that our level-headed and unindoctrinated contingent. However, the beleaguered, persecuted, and shockingly few in number have always been destined to win, because lunacy eventually collapses from its own contradictions. It has only ever been a question of how much longer we have to put up with this staggering bull. And the best part is, like we're seeing in the game industry right now, all we need to do to win is just not feed the trolls, basically. That's it. Just don't give them your money, don't give them your attention. Just get out of it completely. Just don't give people who hate you your money, don't give them your attention. That's it. That's all you need to do. The AAA game industry is teetering on the brink of collapse, all because we're not buying their dog shit anymore. Stop consuming. That's it. Stop fucking consuming. As for the present juncture, I have a theory. Let's remember the nature of the opposition. Wokesters are conformists. They didn't invent their wretched ideas. They're reading from a common hymn sheet. No, they're not conformists. They're NPCs. That's why they all use the same words and subscribe to the same roster of convictions, no matter how preposterous. These people aren't original thinkers, but they imagine they're at the cutting edge. Yeah. Oh, I think I told this story many times before, but they did a survey at one of the schools I was at as a crotch fruit. And one of the questions was, do you view yourself as a leader or a follower? And something like 90% of people said leader. Like, yeah, that definitely checks out with reality. Being regressive means they're in the vanguard. They think woke makes them modern, makes them hip. And now they're starting to find out they're on the wrong side of history and trying to distance themselves from it. Now, whatever the more complex truth of the matter, it's in our interest to promote the trope that woke is over, that woke has been vanquished, that woke is totally yesterday, hopelessly stale and played out. No, we also need to push companies to explicitly denounce wokeness. If they refuse to do that, you could be sure they're still woke. The woke is totally yesterday, stale and played out. The rest of us are moving on to genuinely thorny questions that aren't stupid. That will no longer waste our time pushing back against petty amateur linguists who insist that we call the portly people living with obesity. Oh, yeah, that is that fucking people first language bullshit. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's going to make your head hurt. Whatever our private reservations about the guy, Orange Man's erection marks the hard before and after. That, as Heels Up Harris would say, we've turned the page and we're not going back. Yeah, I love using the woke's own talking points against them. Oh, and it's especially funny when it comes to companies. Like, if a company ever told you, oh, you need to accept that times are different, RGE. You need to accept we're not going to make things like that anymore. They really don't like it when your response to that is like, well, then you need to accept you're not getting any of my money ever again. You need to accept that I would rather buy the old stuff than any of your new stuff. And you literally told me you're not making the things I want anymore, so don't be mad when I don't give you money. They will still blame us, though. Like, all of these games that the developers outright said were not made for us, and then when we don't buy them, they blame us for the game's failures. Why are you blaming us? You literally said that's not for us. If you're looking for someone to blame, why don't you blame the modern audience that never showed up to support you? They're the ones you made it for, right? Have bank accounts never been better with all the terrible games? Yeah. So now, even if you previously never would have considered doing it, now people got the money, all the money they're saving, not buying AAA games, can roll on some Hogans instead. Is that an echo? No, because when you say something enough times, this is a gambit the wokesters themselves have mastered. You can make it true. Wokesters are highly suggestible. Yeah, and that's why they project so hard. So the woke will believe anything those with perceived power tell them. So they project that onto us, which is why they co-opt things that they perceive have power over us and get them to say whatever they want. But and then they're shocked when we just walk away. Furthermore, most of these folks don't really care about social justice. They care about appearing to care. They care about other people's esteem. They care about fitting in. Now, that's absolutely true. All they care about is virtue signaling. All they care about is making sure the rest of the world knows what a good person they are. They echo what everyone else around them says because being a mindless copycat means other mindless copycats will like them and they'll keep their friends and their jobs, and they care about social fashion. And then when they find out they've been on the losing side all along, then they try to flip to the other side as fast as possible and are shocked when it doesn't work. And so they won't spout lingo like cisgender if that might risk an eye roll at parties. That's true, actually. For all the shit they've been talking the past few years, as soon as it's not the hip, cool thing to do anymore, they're not going to do it anymore. And that's why the Bud Light boycott was so effective, too. It brought that into the real world. They won't want a scene behind the times if we convince them that woke is over, that their burn, loot, murder, lawn size are passe, that maundering about white privilege is boring and old hat. They'll drop the whole patriarchy, neurodiversity, heteronormativity et al. Package in a New York minute. We just have to persuade them that the woke is unhip, which it always has been, but some people are slow. I couldn't have said that better myself. Nobody ever liked this woke dog shit. But all of these woke idiots that lock themselves in their echo chambers, they sure as hell convinced themselves that everyone was on their side because they banned everyone that didn't agree with them. So everyone they saw was on their side. They literally drank their own Kool-Aid. And now they're learning that, wait, maybe we're the minority. What? Fucking idiots, man. Yeah, busybody more authoritarianism is popular. Oh, yeah, now you see the right-wing SJWs doing the same thing. Oh, look, it gets a lot of attention to be a right-wing SJW now. Let's jump to do that. And then they learn really quick, like, oh, shit, that people aren't nearly as accepting of this as the previous scam. Ah, shit, let's backtrack before we get too deep in. Ah, shit, it's too late. The mask is already, it's already off. Uh-oh.